Hey guys, Jaime and Jay here with the Jaime and Jay podcast. This is episode 7. Title of this episode is Getting Older, right? And getting older because tomorrow is actually Jay's birthday, right?
Yes,
so
yeah.
a year older, right? So that's why it kind of it's a good little topic, right? So because I'm hate to say it, but I'm probably like 5 years older than Jay, right? So I have a little bit more like experience in life. So it's kind of a good topic for us to see like what goes on in the mind of someone who's a little bit younger than us, right? A man who's just trying to make it, and maybe like a man who's been in the adult life a little bit longer, trying to figure everything out, right? But so I just want to say it's Jay's birthday is tomorrow, right? We're gonna go celebrate, right? Another thing too is you usually do LaCroix, right? But we got a little seltzer, right? So we can
We're pre-gaming already.
yeah, I'm gonna open mine up. We can cheers real quick for Jay's birthday, you know. Cheers. But damn, those are actually good. I've never had one before.
Yeah.
So just starting it off, right? Obviously, happy birthday to Jay, right? But I do want to ask a few questions, right? Because I want to get your input on a few things. I wanted to ask, like, how does it feel to be obviously tomorrow, but another year older? Like, is there anything significant that you feel, or anything like maybe like that internal clock going on, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. So whenever you get into your 20s, 20 I feel like is underwhelming because nothing really happens at 20. Whenever you turn 21, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm 21 now. I can go buy beer and fucking, at the time I was smoking Black and Milds, right? So I can go buy Black and Milds now. 22 was like, okay, just another year above 21. 23, I feel like
It's your Jordan year.
It's your Jordan year, but this is kind of like you're a couple years from being in the second half of your 20s. Like, I don't feel like I am. Yes, I'm young, but I don't feel like
You're mature.
23 sounds a little
bit more seasoned, right?
Yeah,
Like,
more seasoned. Yes, yeah. Now, like, you're like becoming like a real adult. No one looks at 23 as like, oh, you're a young kid. At 21 is like, oh, he's just a kid. 22 is like, come on, 23 is whenever you're kind of getting up there, and it's like, okay, well, you've been an adult for a while now. It's, you've been an adult for 5 years, like, you're seasoned, like you said. So I think that this year does feel different than the other birthdays. It's my first birthday where I felt like, oh, shit, like,
So let me ask you, do you feel more excited about your birthday this year, or do you feel a little bit more anxious?
No, definitely not. Yeah, definitely more anxious. Yeah, a lot of anxiety for the year 23, pushing 30. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm pushing 30. I feel like I'm 30 already. I work with a bunch of people who are a lot older than me, so I do older shit. I'm already out of like the house. I have my fucking bills and all that stuff. So I feel a lot older than I am. And definitely this birthday was like a lot of maybe the best word isn't anxiety, but maybe you can describe it as that.
Or more pressure.
Felt a little, yes, that's what it is. I feel more pressure this year around than any of my other years. That it's like, okay, you've done so much, and maybe it's because I'm real hard on myself, but
Yeah.
I feel like I've done so much, and this year is like nothing that I want to do this year is gonna come easy. Like I have no easy goals anymore. And we've talked about this, in the other episodes, that like from here on out, everything that we want out of life is like really tough to get to. It's the shit that most people don't achieve in their entire lifespan. And me, I'm in my 23rd year. I feel like I'm putting the pressure on myself to, get to places that people don't do in their entire life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and so it's one of those things, too, is like I do feel like it's where things start getting a little serious, right? It's almost like when you're in high school, right? Like, okay, you're a freshman, you're a sophomore, you're still like a little kid, right? You think, and then it's like juniors, like, okay, now you have to start thinking about college. What do you want to do for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so then you're a senior, like, all right, where y'all going to college? And you're like, bro, I don't even know what I want to do with the rest of my life, right? And then so this is very much like you're an adult. And another thing too is like I feel like we're very similar in that standpoint, right? Like I moved out of my parents' house when I was 19 years old, not because I wanted to, right? Just because it was I didn't get kicked out or anything like that, but maybe I was in a relationship that she wanted to move out, right? So I kind of felt the pressure there, but I started doing everything. I had I had a big boy job. I wasn't like working a part-time job at all. Like I was out and doing manual labor stuff like that, just trying to make it work. you know. So it's definitely I can understand what you say. Like it feels like it's the pressure, right? Like rookie year's over. Like you're a full blown adult, right? And then another thing too is like working with the people we work. You start seeing that like you're not the younger guy anymore. You know, like now there's other like 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds. I don't know if we have anybody specifically that works with us now, but I remember my last dealership, there was a lot of like green peas, bro. Like guys that were just at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A and now they're doing this stuff, you know. So it's definitely like, it does make you feel a little older, right? And we also see, you know, problems from every walks of life where we work, right? Because we get to see guys at every, you know, stage, point in their life. So it does give you a little bit better insight too, because you know, like, all right, this is stuff that I need to start worrying about, you know. But I know a little bit of a subtopic, right? But with the episode titled "Getting Older," I like to kind of like the point of everything is like getting older. Older is inevitable. Like it's guaranteed. You're always gonna get older. Time's always gonna be ticking. But growing is a choice, right? So how many people do we know that they're older than us and we're like, bro, like what are you doing with your life, you know? Like there's you know, there's a lot of people, and then maybe they're successful in their own eyes, right? But do you know that they could be so much more ahead?
Everyone also has different goals. We'll get into that right now. I just want to like pause everything Louis just said. Shout out to the lighting. The lighting is great, but more importantly, we do need a Happy Dad sponsorship. If we can get one, that'd be great. So that will definitely be a clip later, and we'll add them. Happy Dad, reach out to us. You know, we're just starting off, young talented males here. This podcast will be big one day, so you'll want to pay us.
Yeah, but it's so good too. I love it. I'm gonna probably start drinking these more.
To get into what you said, yeah, you definitely have to accept it more later. But I feel like everybody has different goals of what they want out of life. For most people, what we have is enough. You know, like if I would have asked most of my friends growing up what they want out of life, it was just this, because of like where the side of town that we came from. Yeah, you know. So to them, like having their own, like having a nice car and having their own place was like, you made it. You fucking made it. That's it. You know. Yeah. And I was always the person who was like, man, fuck that. Like I want to have a big ass house, like a bunch of cars. Like I want to be able to buy y'all cars. Like yeah. You know. So my goals were always set a lot higher. To play devil's advocate to what you said. Like, yeah, there are some people who we kind of look at them like, bro, you're a grown ass loser, but maybe that's all they wanted to be. You know, and you can't be mad at someone for only wanting that. You know, if that's what makes them happy. But you can be mad at someone if it was someone like us, where it's like, okay, Jaime, you said you want this, and the third. Now I can check you because you said you wanted it. It's different if somebody says that they don't. If they truly mean that they don't want it, you know, and they're actually okay with whatever they're using. You know, like it's like if there's the Android phones, right? If somebody has an Android phone and that's what they wanted, then like cool, you know. But if someone is just saying that they are okay with the Android phone because they couldn't afford an iPhone, it's like, well, you know, that's a little bit different. But if you say you want something, like now I can check you if you're not doing what it takes to get there. Now I can check you for settling because you already told me that you wanted it. You know, you told me that you wanted, like, just for example, right? Let's say you wanted a fucking Corvette. Just because like a month ago I saw you driving the Corvette. I was like, hey, you look good in that. Yeah. Let's say you wanted a Corvette. And then, you know, you're not doing the things to get there. Like, then I can check you and be like, hey, bro, like, you said you wanted this and you're not doing the things to get it. Like,
these are just dreams. Yeah. And I think that's another thing too, is like where we need to start promoting like that community thinking, right? Because a lot of people may have dreams and aspirations they never even talked about because they feel silly talking about them. You know, they feel like almost like they don't believe in themselves enough. This is going back to last week's topic, right? But they don't believe in themselves enough to think that it's possible. So they don't ever think it's an option. And so it's almost where the complacency comes in. And then it's like, okay, yeah, like complacency is very much a sickness that plagues our country, like so crazy. Bro, like there's I was watching something on I think it was my Instagram feed, and it was like, oh, like this they were like rewarding this guy who's been working at this fast food restaurant for like 20 years, and I'm just like, bro, like I mean, not to take away from that, but it's like, man, like he's doing great at his job there, but like, man, how much has he held himself back, not trying to like leave somewhere that he was complacent or comfortable with, you know? Because comfortability is just as bad as complacency, right? Like you just get so it's so hard to leave. It's so hard to jump when and this is another topic we're going to talk about it later. But it's so hard to jump when you been stuck there for so long. It's very much a hamster wheel that just keeps on going circles and circles and circles. The only time it stops is for you to get water and take a rest. At that point, you're not even moving, you know. So it's a big thing, right? So that's kind of like leading into the next topics. I mean, time is moving whether we like it or not, right? There's two little things I always say, right? So you'll never be this young again, right? And then you're not getting any younger, right? Kind of the same thing, right? Just a different way to say it. But it is very much, it's so hard to think that like, okay, yes, we're going to keep on trying. Like, oh, I have these dreams. I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll get to it tomorrow. Like, or like, I want to be the fittest I've ever been. But do you think that, you know, the older version of you that's a little bit more beat up is going to like get these things done? Like you need to start doing this stuff now because this is your best chance of doing this stuff. Right. So I don't know if you have like, maybe some things that, you keep on putting off that maybe you feel like you can get done this year, right? Like certain things. I know we've already done this. This is a big jump for us there, but is there maybe like a goal that you keep on putting off, and you're like, maybe I just don't have the time. I don't want to do it. Like I want to do it so bad, but I have like maybe a little bit of time going to allocate it to other things.
And we've talked about it before. I want to get to like posting more content on social media. Yeah. I just don't want to make it cringe. That's like my biggest thing because I find a bunch of content that like I scroll through and I find it really, really, really cringe. So that kind of holds me back from it because I do want to do it in a way that's not super cringy. And that was the same thing with the podcast was like, I want to come at this from a standpoint that feels real and genuine and not really forced, like you know, people who are like clip farming and stuff like that. I mean, I know I said we're gonna clip that Happy Dad thing earlier, but like real, like, oh, just like acting a little like too excited about stuff that's really not that exciting. I want it to feel real genuine, and I feel like a lot of content is like it feels really, really forced. So I want to make sure that if we're gonna like put out like stuff like that, it's something that kind of like gives a little bit of value or makes you think. I mean, I think that's a real big thing. You know what? I'm getting a little off topic here, but I do like want to talk about it just a little bit. Is they have the new season of Rick and Morty out, and that used to be one of my favorite shows. I don't know if you've ever watched it.
I've I'll watch it if it's on because it's very much something I can have in the background, right? And I can watch and I could I zone in and out, you know.
So the older seasons, like the first ones, right? And I know that the creators had like their whole scandal, whatever the fuck. Like I'm not gonna get into that, right? But they swapped out the people who originally made the show. Mm-hmm. And in the new season, while I'm watching it, I'm like, damn, it's supposed to be like sci-fi comedy, but like a real big part of it was that Rick's a genius or whatever, and they had like they would put intricate things in there that like really made you think. You know, that really made you question reality. Or sometimes you're watching the show and, like, there's a fucking huge twist. Like, there's a mind fuck. You know what I mean? They would fuck with your mind while you're watching the show. And now, in the new season, I've noticed, I'm like, they're not trying to do that anymore. Like, there's no, like, intelligent value anymore. It's just, like, sci-fi space comedy.
Like brain rot.
Yeah. Like, yes, exactly. It's just brain rot, but, like, with space and portal guns and shit, you know?
No real significance.
Yeah, and I feel like if I wanted to like put out content like that, like I want there to be some significance. You know, I want like someone to watch the video and kind of like sit there and have to think about it, you know?
And another thing too though is so going back to the being cringe, there's a guy, and I don't really remember his name on YouTube, but I used to watch him all the time when I was younger, and he still does YouTube videos now. He's like a gym guy, whatever. But he was putting out some stuff. He's like, man, why is everybody so scared of being cringe? You know, like he's like bodybuilders, right? We always like we have all these bodybuilders that these are our heroes, right? We want to be just like these guys. Chris Bumstead, you know, Jay Cutler, all these guys that I used to at least idolize when I was younger, right? And he's like. You're scared of being cringe, but he's like, you don't think bodybuilding is cringe? He's like, you're literally flexing next to a bunch of guys in your underwear. He's like, that's not cringe, you know? So it's very much, I think maybe with getting older, it could go two ways, right? Where you're almost, I feel like you can almost be more insecure about how other people think because you feel like you're older and you should hold yourself a little bit more like accountable to like maybe fitting an image. But then I also feel like, man, I see some older people, and that some older people, bro, like they just give no fucks, you know, or like they just don't care. And it's almost like, yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about it that way. But it's also like, man, I aspire to be that way too, right? Like sometimes too, I know you want to have put out content for significance, right? Have something, some message in there like somebody's gonna take. But I also think that a lot of times, right, especially with the way social media works, is the content that goes crazy, the content that everybody likes is the stuff that's really not like there's no significance behind it. So yeah, like there is a maybe that's something that we need to work on too. Is getting older is like stop caring about what other people think, right? I think that me at a younger age, maybe me at like your age, bro, like I very much cared about how everybody perceived me, right? I try to like, especially when I started making money in the car business, I think I started like trying to be somebody I wasn't, right? Buying the Louis bag, like Louis bag, Louis belt, the Louis shades, right? Having a Tesla, right? A Model 3 Performance Tesla. I had like 4 cars, a Harley, you know, all this crazy stuff. And now I think about it, like, who cares, bro? Like, this is all very much stuff that like, it wasn't me at any point, right? And then I think it only hurts your ego more when you start thinking about like what other people think about it. You know, I think if you're having fun, like at that point, like people are gonna like reside with that. You know, people are gonna see that and they're gonna want to be like that. We started this, right, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback, bro. Every day, like I feel like every day now, it's like somebody new's coming up to us and be like, "Dude, I just saw like your clip. I just saw this. You came up on my For You page." Like, and it's kind of crazy because it is getting out there. But this is very much something that I was talking about it, I think either last week or the week before, that I was getting kind of that self doubt. That I was kind of like, damn, like, dude, are people gonna think we're dumb because we're doing this? Like, we're trying to be better, right? One of the managers, right? She's like, she was saying that like, so she was asking about it, and she's like, okay, so like if y'all don't hit y'all's goals, I can go on there and I can say that y'all are liars, right? Like, but who cares, bro? Like, we're trying. We're at least trying to do something, right? We're trying to be better, right? And then I don't think it's ever a good idea.
She was intrigued whenever she saw the clip.
Yeah.
She was very excited.
It was a good thing for sure.
To like ask about it. You know, once she saw it on social media, she really wanted to like, well, what's going on with this? You know, because I guess she was a little bit behind, not in the loop about it.
Yeah, I don't think she knew. I don't think she knew until like recently that she saw it.
Yeah. But you know, in all honesty, it's not even about like me being cringe to other people. It's about me being cringe to myself. Like, I don't want to make something and then I watch it, I'm like, oh, this is stupid. And then another thing, too, is about the content is you have to get other people involved, right? So that's my biggest thing. Is it like, I'm a little bit of a control freak. I'm not even going to lie. So let's say, like, me, you, and somebody else, like, shot, like, a video, and you're like, oh, my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. And after, like, watching it, I'm like, oh, this thing sucks. Like, I'm not going to want to put it out. But you're part of it, and you're like, bro, like, we spent 30 minutes shooting this reel, like, let's drop it. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, I don't like it. Yeah. You know? So that's kind of why I don't want to get into the reels and stuff, because it's like, what if I don't like it? You know, as far as what other people think, if I think it's cool, I don't care what anybody else thinks. You know? Like, when we're doing our podcast, I told you from the jump, like, I've already gone through this stuff with music. Like, I already know how it's going to be. There's going to be people who are going to hate on it. There's going to be people who are going to like it. Eventually, the people who hated on it from the jump are going to, like, see it progress. And they're going to be like, oh, fuck. Like, this shit really became something, you know? And I knew that it wasn't bad. Like, after watching it, like, I can take myself outside of my own body and, like, watch what we're doing. You know, the same way that I can listen to my own music and, like, pick it apart. You know, okay, I fucked up here. You know, this didn't sound good. This line kind of sucked. Like, you know, after a week of listening to the song, like, I got to change this. So I'm real good with, you know, being my own worst critic.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about what other people say. I just don't want to get into the content and then I feel like it's cringy. And then if I feel like I'm making cringy content, I'm not going to want to do content, you know?
Yeah, and I think, you know, coming from a maybe a little bit seasoned brain, right? That's a little bit, you know, I would say 5.5 years. I hate to say it, right? Older than you, though. It's
what are you talking about, bro? I'm 32. Like,
oh yeah. But it's definitely one of those things where I feel like it's kind of, you know, it's like, why do we think you want to do it? It's very much like the desire to do it's there, right? So, and you know that there's like it's the same thing.
You know what? Sorry to interrupt you, but I think that's a great standpoint of why I look at it the way I look at it. I actually don't. I'm not very excited to make the content. I know that we need to make the content in order to promote
So
as
I
marketing.
could go 2 ways. I could go 2 ways with that.
But I'm not like, oh yeah, I want to make like not how I wanted to like I want to make a podcast.
Yeah.
You know? Like I wanted to do a podcast to sit here and like have discussions and build something else too, while I'm like also doing my music and stuff. The content I feel like very much is to either promote our work, our car sales, or to promote the podcast or to promote the music. But I was not trying to be a like content creator as far as like the short-term reels and all of that stuff, so maybe that's kind of also why I've been like avoiding it, because I don't want to do it.
Okay, so you said the word avoiding, right? What's the saying that we've been saying?
Yes, the success we're looking for is in the work that we're avoiding. Yes, of course. That's why I know this year, like, I want to get over that hump, but it's because I want to get over doing something that I don't want to do. It's not like, oh, I want to make content. It's like I know I need to make content, and I want to get over that. I guess I should have like phrased that differently. Whenever you ask something that I wanted to do this year, it's not like necessarily that I want to make content. It's that I know I need to promote what we have going on here, what I got going on at work and my music, and that's the way we're going to do it, because the success we're looking for is in the work that we're avoiding.
And what did your going back to one of the clips we posted during this week, what did your dad say to you that you were like, it was kind of one of those things that took you back a little bit? He said that you're not a real artist, and he said you're not a real artist because you're thinking that because you put this music out that you're going to go blow up, right? You're going to get big up just off of that, but you're not doing all the other stuff that it takes to get there.
And nowadays being a content, even he said it. He's like, you think I want to be a fucking content creator? He's like, at my age, he's like, but this is the shit that people have to do to promote their music. He's like, well, him and this artist, Benicio, they just spent a lot of money to make an album. And Benicio was ready to drop it, and my dad's like, no. We are not going to just drop this album and let it be a conversation piece.
Yeah.
Like, step one was doing the album. Now that the album's done, we have to start the the promotion run, the campaign, behind this. Like, we have to do, shows, we have to do interviews. Like, we have to go around and like do like a press run. My bad, couldn't think of the word, like a press run for this, because if not, it's just a conversation piece. Like, oh yeah, we made this great piece of music.
Okay, well, let's think about it this way, right? It's very much going back to that subtopic that I say that like getting older is inevitable, right? Growing is a choice, right? So getting uncomfortable, bro. Like a lot of times to get to the next level in life, you have to get uncomfortable, bro. This is where things start getting hard. This is where you have to start doing things that you don't want to do. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to have like everybody has their dreams they want to do. But the thing is that I had a conversation with somebody on Facebook and or Ronnie on one of my posts I put on Facebook about like quitting and stuff like that. But I think that anytime that you're trying to achieve a goal that's obviously like big enough and hard enough that like you want it bad enough, but it's almost like so many people quit because they hit that adversity. But I believe that adversity is the thing that very much keeps the average on one side and then the successful people on the other side.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's that fence that we're at right now. Is the adversity, the getting uncomfortable, doing shit that you really don't want to do. That's why we're still on this side of the fence. And then there was a bunch of people who were willing to do shit, and they're on this side of the fence. Or right, they come from families of people who were willing to do shit, and they were born on this side of the fence. But me and you weren't. We were born all the way over here. So if we're gonna make it to this side, like, we have to be the ones to start that, break the generational curse.
And it goes back to the thing that I always say. It's little by little, right? Obviously, we don't want to do it. We haven't done it. We haven't done any. We have so many ideas for content that we've been talking about, and they're like little stupid clips we can knock out in like 30 minutes if we really wanted to, right? Mm-hmm. But we haven't done it, and it's very much like, why don't we just start with a small one, a little one? I know you were talking about trying to expand into like some social media where you're starting to take over some stuff, right? I know we were talking about that yesterday when you were talking to Javier, right? Mm-hmm. And how do we expect to get better? How do we expect to get experience? It's like applying for a job, bro. Like, where's your resume? I don't know you. It's like applying for the Hellcat we have at work, but you're a first time buyer with no money down. Like, I don't know who you are. The banks don't know who you are. Like, why would I give you this, right? It's like the same thing. Like, you want to be this person. You want to have the success that this person gets, but you're not willing to do everything or have the experience to get there. You know, so it's, and another thing too is leading into the next topic. It's the leap of faith, bro. Like, you know, it's very much when you're scared, that's when you need to jump, right? And that's another thing too is, and maybe not being scared. It's just like wanting to do, like, it's very much
It is fear. I mean, scared is like whenever you think of like being scared, you think of like, oh, like you're frightened, like a scared cat or something like that. But the reality of the situation is as men, we fear things. Fear is a sin. You know, it's fear is the root of a lot of evil things in this world, and a lot of bad stuff is because of being afraid, you know? And you definitely, you know, whenever people talk about courage, whenever you like show courage, it's not because you're not afraid, it's because you're afraid and you do it anyway. You know, the reality of the situation. And yeah, you know, everybody's going to put on the tough guy act and be like, oh no, I wasn't scared and this, that, and the third. But, you know, if we're being honest, in most situations, like even as men, like, yeah, we do get fucking scared. You know, we do admit fear. And then we do shit anyway, you know, so we do need to take that leap of faith, you know, whenever it comes to the content and a bunch of other things too as well. Doing this was kind of a leap of faith.
Yeah.
We spent some money in this too already, but I think it's going to pay off in all honesty. I feel like in all of the stuff that I've done, this right here is one of the things that feels right, you know, and not that music didn't feel right. Music did, but it definitely felt like I was fighting an uphill climb. And now that we started doing this, I'm like, okay, this feels like more, everything's rolling smooth. And maybe it comes from the experience of that. I'm never going to stop doing music, but I do know that was like a huge learning curve with roller coasters up and down. And I feel like this has been like a steady on the way up, you know?
And so I think I sent it to you. I'm gonna transition to, well, not transition, but like go touch topics with something that Louis just said in the comments, right? But he said, "Aren't you tired of being tired?" Right? Like, no, but like that's so true, bro. Like, how many times do I go up to you a week and I just bitch about like all the stuff that like, bro, like this just happened, right? But this is all side effects of the life I'm currently living, the life that I've committed to. But like, I'm going to keep on bitching. I'm going to keep on like just talking shit about all the stuff that's going on in my life. But what am I doing to change it? You know, like, and if I rather cry, bitch, and moan about something that went wrong in my day instead of changing it and trying to push towards something else, trying to push against that resistance, right? And change my life to get to another point. And the thing is, if we don't ever push, bro, I think it's just, we're going to jump on that hamster wheel and we're never going to get off, right? We see that every day in what we do. I'm sure you've seen it at your last dealership. I'm sure you've seen it at this dealership. I'm sure you've seen it, but maybe even the music industry with like maybe certain artists that, you know, they are trying, but they're not trying to get uncomfortable enough.
The easiest example is in the gym.
Oh, yeah.
You can go to the gym and lift the same weight for the same amount of reps the entirety of the time to the day you die. You are very, very easily capable of going in there, loading up the same weight, doing the same amount of reps every single time. If you don't add more weight,
never get stronger.
You're never going to get stronger. And, you know, I hate to call her out like this, but my girl said something when we were eating. She's like, oh, I feel like I don't go enough to the gym to start adding more weight. And it's like, no, we definitely go enough. You know, we go a few times a week, like you can add weight. Is it going to be comfortable whenever you lift it? No, it's not going to feel as good as the weight that you were just doing because you've been doing that weight.
Yeah.
Whenever you add it, it's going to feel like, oh, fuck, I can't do this. Like, but yeah, because you just added more weight.
Yeah.
And you're never going to get used to that until you
how do you
keep doing it, you know?
How do you ever become the person that you want to be if you're not doing the things that it takes to get there, right? Like, be the person, you gotta commit to the life commit to the life that it takes to be the person that's worthy of the things you want in life, you know? So like, you very much have to get uncomfortable, right? We don't evolve by Like even going down to like, bro, like Nintendo, like Pokemon, bro. Like if you wanna evolve these little like things, little Pokemon, whatever it is, you have to train, right? You have to do all this
You gotta
stuff,
beat
right?
your Pokemon up. He's gotta get his ass kicked a few times.
Yeah, bro, you
in order
gotta
for him
run.
to level up.
You gotta run to the Pokemon Center, bro. You died a few times, right? You have to start over. You have to go whoop that guy's ass on Route 166, whatever it is, you know. But it's very much the same thing, bro. Like how do I expect to get better? How do if I don't ever try new things? If I don't ever try like the same thing at work, bro, with like closes and stuff like that, like. I always say that even though the cars you don't sell still make you money, it's just not right then and there, because you have to look at everything and you have to see like where you went wrong, and you have to use it as a learning lesson, like a place to put a pin in, kind of think about what went wrong and how you can improve on it, you know. So it's definitely something that I think that we need to kind of focus on a little bit more, is getting uncomfortable, bro. Like it's. We always say, and I don't think we hold each other accountable enough when it comes to stuff like that. You know?
No, you're right, and we definitely reward making ourselves more comfortable, making shit easier for us, because especially in a place like that, if you can make any process smoother or quicker, you're all over it, because you're like, okay, I can just streamline this, you know.
That's my setup, you know.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
my setup at work.
exactly. And you know, we always like whenever you add something, I'm like, oh yeah, fucking dope. Like you made it easier for yourself instead of rewarding, making it harder. Not that you should though, you know, but if you're taking time away to make this quicker, it's like, okay, you're not doing that so you can have more time to bullshit. You're doing that so you can have more time to figure other stuff out.
Yeah.
You should be adding, you know, if you're spending less time doing this now, you should be adding stuff to fill in that time, not just like, okay, when I got more time to walk around and talk because I streamlined this, you know what I mean? Like, and we're not going to get into it, right, because we can't give away our secrets, but if we streamline this process and now this is like one click of a button, well, where is the time in between, you know? We just added like another 30 minutes to an hour of the day. Where's that 30 minutes or an hour going to?
And then another thing too is sometimes it's not even about getting more customers. It's just trying to get better at what you're doing, so you don't like you're making more of the opportunities you do get.
Yeah, no, 100%. Streamlining having the customers that you do, because sometimes it's like, man, you have to know how to get people in and out, because you very much could spend a lot of time with a customer and it's not a deal, you know. Yeah. And the customer knows it's not a deal, and you're trying to make it a deal, and you should have made the agreement with each other 2 hours ago that this wasn't a deal.
Yeah.
You know, and you could have already gone on to the next thing.
I think it's very much something that we need to be just more aware of, bro. Excuse me. I know it's very much been something that it's something that like I said, plagues us all. Complacency, right? That comfort, right? Not doing the things that we don't want to do. And I know like me and you are pretty much the same, bro. Like we don't. I will look back at certain. I've posted gym pics and I go back and I think it looks badass at that point, and then I'll go back an hour and I'll watch it again and I'm like, oh, I need to take this down, you know. But it's like, who cares, bro? Like at the end of the day, like it's very much like me just putting myself out there, and I'm doing it for me. Like if I think about I'm doing it for anybody else, like it's we're giving power to the negative thoughts that are going into our head, and we just need to stay on that positive side, right? I think this is kind of we've touched enough about this topic to kind of like transition to the next thing. But I know that like me and you are both like hard workers, right? Like I think the reason why like we mesh so well, and like even from the beginning, right? Like we've always had like really good conversations, but I think that we started like we kind of come maybe not from the same place, but very similar places, right, in life. That maybe like we kind of grew up on a rougher side of San Antonio. We didn't have everything. Our parents gave us what they could, right? But obviously we want more. You know, we want to improve on that, right? I think my dad's a great dad, but I think my number one goal in life is to give my kids, when it's that time, a better life than what I had, you know. And so like we have to improve, but it's also going into it, right? Where's the balance between living and grinding, right? Like I can go as hard as I want on my goals, but when is it time to enjoy life? Because sometimes you just get lost in the grind, bro, and you never get a chance to actually enjoy it. And I know you're like that, because when you have a goal, you're so hard on yourself with these goals and you try to hit it, right? But and then you always lose track of the other things. It's like when I say that I don't even take vacations sometimes, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm the wrong person to ask about that, like life grind balance. And I always joke around. And the managers, they don't get it. You know what I mean? Whenever I tell them, because a lot of them don't do stuff like out like I do. You know, outside of work.
Yeah, they
They're
don't
just
have
like, yeah, whatever. Whenever I say it, but I'm like, I get out of work and I go work. Like that's what I do. You know, I go work out, or I work on stuff for the podcast, or I work on music. You know, I have very, very little time where I'm out, you know, just kind of jerking around. You know, like it's not. It's very rare, and the times that I do, it's usually just to see people that I care about. You know, um, like if I gotta go have like some family time, or I gotta see the boys because I haven't seen them in a while, and even that feels like it's like maintenance more than, you know, me just like, oh, I need to relax today. It's like, no, I mean, I haven't seen Louis in a while. Like, let me go like take some time to spend with Louis because that's my boy, you know? And it definitely feels like me like just kind of maintaining my relationships rather than like, oh, like I'm actually like taking a day just to chill, you know? And even, you know, I spent a lot of the times too is like I still have to do shit during the day too, and they end up having to like come run errands with me. Like that's how we hang out. Because I get very, very little days off, a little time off from work. So it's like I got to go to the grocery store, or I need this, or, you know, I have to pick up something for the podcast or pick up something for music. And a lot of shit just kind of piles up. And, you know, I look back at it and it's like I get very, very little time to rest. You know, whenever I'm eating, like usually I put on like a show, or maybe like I'll watch a podcast or something like that. But that's like,
you're multitasking.
Yeah, I'm multitasking. Yeah.
You're trying to make the most of the time. And I think it goes down to, like, I very much love this. I think this is very much my, I have my day job that pays the bills. And then I have, you know, the job I clock in afterwards where I'm putting stuff into this. You know, I'm posting, right? I'm doing all the other stuff that I'm trying to, like, get this off the ground. And it's because this is very much following my passion, bro. Like, ultimately, like I want, like, when I was in high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But at the time, I felt like I had really good role models, like, as teachers and coaches, that I kind of wanted to go back to my high school and be a football coach and a teacher, right? Because I felt like there were certain people that at my high school that I wouldn't be the person. I would very much be a shithead if it wasn't for these specific couple teachers and coaches, right? So I almost like I wanted to pay it forward, and I felt like I needed that when I was at a young and very vulnerable age, and that's what I wanted to do after high school, right? I didn't go to college, right, because I didn't believe in putting myself into some debt for, you know, for an education that maybe I don't need, right? And I think life played out the way it needed to, right? I didn't even want to be in the car business, right? I've talked about that before. Like, it was very much something I had to do. But you know what? My favorite part about a lot of it is, like, in my last dealership, I was the one who took all the, like, new hires under my wing, and I would show them how to do things. There's, I know for a fact, I don't care what anybody says, there are things that are done in my last dealership because I'm the one who brought that into light. I'm the one who started that. I'm the one who made it look easy enough where I felt like I could teach it to other people, right? And so, like, this is very much my passion because I feel like I'm helping somebody. I'm helping somebody kind of believe in themselves a little bit more, right? Like, I feel like I'm helping somebody, or even helping myself. And it's from there, like, people get inspired from it, right? We hear people that all the time, like, oh, like, I want to start a podcast too. And I'm like, well, bro, like, why don't you? Like, it's so easy, bro. And then it's like little by little, like, you started adding things. And like we talked about, like, the difference in the set for, like, from episode 1 to episode 7, it's just, like, slowly gotten to this point. Maybe not slowly. It probably got there a whole lot faster than it probably could have, right? But these are all things that, like, I had to give myself grace, right? And know that, like, yeah, I could go harder in my job that I probably don't like as much. And then, but it's almost like, man, I'm spending so much of my life on that. And yeah, maybe I'm making more money, but it's not, like, fulfilling, like, my soul, you know? And that's where, like, I think living comes into play, right? Like, start doing, like, you told me that, like, I'm doing this to make money so I can, like, play my music, do my music, right? So, like, at that point, like, you're like, if I don't do that, like, I would go crazy, right? If I don't have, like, that little, if I don't have that thing in my life.
I'd die inside.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like it's a, you lose a piece of yourself that makes you who you are. And so it's very much something that I feel like we need to have that balance, you know. It's cool going head on into your goals, right, and being that person, right? But I would hate to see us get lost in those goals, like trying to reach those goals and never actually live in our life. Because what is it all for? Like, what is it all for if we don't actually like have a life that we look back at and we're proud of, you know?
No, 100%. I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you all the way, and I think that mindset is what gives me so much anxiety at 23, is because I am aware of the fact that it's like, okay, yeah, I don't want to spend my entire life like just trying to get there. So I'm trying to get there as quick as possible, you know, like, and even if it's not right now, like let me get there in my late 20s. So I have all of like, you know, the end of my 20s and my 30s to enjoy everything that I built right now. But I'm at an age where it's like, yeah, I could spend my time fucking drinking and going out all the time and, you know, just doing a bunch of like shit that young people do, right, my age, rather than building. And then I get into my 30s and it's like, okay, well, I'm trying to build my life now. And then I get into my 40s and it's like, all right, well, I have my house and my car and I can pay my bills. But, you know, now I'm sitting here trying to like just die slow, I guess, you know, rather than doing all of the work here in my 20s, like really, really building myself up. And then, you know, all of my 30s is like, okay, I have all of my systems in play. I know obviously I still have to manage them, but I can really spend more time now enjoying myself and kind of, you know, having my time back. Right now, I think that's like the biggest thing to me is I know that I got to make a lot of money so I can literally buy my time back, because there's no other way I'm going to be able to do it, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's like that clock's always ticking, bro. That clock's always ticking, and that, we do find ourselves like, when we're grinding, but I can't act like we're always grinding, you know?
That's true,
yeah. And that's the thing, too, is like there's certain times where we're not grinding, but we're not even enjoying it either. It's just kind of like a little break, right? And it's not even like a break to like catch your breath. It's more like a break just to like feel sorry for yourself. Like I told you, like I go and find you sometimes and I just bitch and moan about shit, you know? And so it's, I think it's very much going back down to like just, hey, like sometimes we need to be more efficient with our time and have, I guess, more like
well, as humans though, we're not wired to do those things. Like, God did not create us to spend 12 hours trying to sell a car. Like, I'm sorry, but he didn't, you know? And I get it that that's our job, but we'd be lying if we said that everyone at the dealership like doesn't take, you know, a few minutes out of their day like to just have a conversation with someone. You know, or, you know, they're texting, like, you have to like refresh a little bit, you know. You can't just spend the entire time at work like just constantly, okay, what am I going to do? I'm calling this person, like, you know, or just, we're just not wired that way, you know. You can't do something for 12 hours straight. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you have to take a break. Like, you have to, you know, sit down and eat or go to the restroom and take a shit. Like, you're not going to do one thing for 12 hours straight and it be, well, I guess you could, right? But you're not going to be 100% the whole way through. Like, you will have a dip off, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like, yeah, sometimes you do kind of have to take like a little break to get away from, you know, the stressful environment that we work in, to refresh yourself. And that way you can go back into it with like a clear head.
Yeah, and I think it's yes, you're absolutely right, but I think maybe the time that we do actually spend working, we could have more downtime, right? We can have more time to kind of enjoy what we do a little bit more, if we just put the systems, like you said, like the systems in place that work for us while we're not working, right? So like, yeah, bro, we could have a way easier time at work if we were putting content out there and we were getting like fresh leads for ourselves, you know. There are certain things that I do that I don't want to put out there because at that point someone else is going to start doing it, right? And I hate the thought that I'm helping somebody else take money off of my plate.
Yeah.
But I do certain things because they generate leads for me. You know, I don't have to really work that hard, right? Like I post like on every single, not every single one, but maybe 85% of the cars I sell that I put on my story, I put some form of like paying $200 referrals, right, or something like that, right? Because somebody's gonna see it, somebody's gonna be like, hey, I know somebody, I need $200, right? Like, and that's going to generate a lead for me, right? These are all things like if we make content and we put it out there, yeah, maybe somebody's going to see it. Somebody's going to come in and say, like, hey, like, I know these guys. Like, hey, like, can I work with y'all? Are y'all free today, right? So these are all things that, like, hey, if we were just more efficient with our time, then we use our time like a little bit smarter, right? At that point, we wouldn't have to work as hard, and then we can have time to put towards other things, right?
You know what? One of the managers said, if you don't enjoy selling cars, like, you should leave. And I don't think that we don't enjoy selling cars. I think that we don't enjoy having to sit there and find prospects.
Yeah,
that's the most grueling part of it. Is like, you spend hours there trying to find someone to buy a car, and if you can't, it sucks. Selling the car is the fun part.
Yeah.
I think that very, very little of the time it's like you're not enjoying like the actual selling process. Like that's very exciting. Unless the customer is kind of like, being real hard. But that's very, very, very few customers is like, oh my gosh, this person's doing so much, I can't take it. It's the sitting there trying to find someone whenever you don't have like anything working. It's like, that's what sucks. And if your pipeline's empty and you need a deal, that is like the grueling part of the job. And if we could find a way to make that fun, then that would be amazing. But I don't think it ever will be. I think that the only way to combat that, to make our time spent, is to have more avenues of prospecting, and that takes growing our brand here, and growing our brands just in general, like not only us but at the store, like growing our book of business and our social media and all that. That'll all help garner more people to us, and at that point it'll become easy. But right now, that grueling part is like just prospecting. It's not like you ever come over to me whenever you're working a deal and it's like, oh, it's like for you to like bitch, like, oh my gosh, like even that day that you stayed late and you sold 3 cars, it's not like you went home and you're like, oh my gosh, like I hate the fact that I sold 3 cars today. I'm sure you fucking went home like, damn, like I had to work, but I fucking sold 3 cars. You know?
Yeah.
But if you would have went to work and not talked to anybody and weren't able to get any prospect, then you know that's whenever you come up to me like, bro, like fuck this, like I can't do anything. I can't give a car away, like.
Yeah, and so and the funny thing is that like I hate staying after we close. The other day I was trying to give away a deal because somebody was trying to come at 8:50 when we close at 9. I'm like, bro, and I told the customer, give away a deal. I was like, you know what, let me see who else wants to work it, right? But the day I sold 3 cars, bro, I hate being there after I close. I hate being the last one there. Like I just hate it. Like, and I'm thinking about like I'm fucking myself the next day, bro, because I'm gonna be so tired. Like, and like I'm a very emotional person. I'm an emotional seller, right? Like, and if I have no energy to even put into my emotion, like, how am I supposed to do this, right? But the crazy thing is that my last 2 customers were the last 2 customers who got financed, and so we were there till like 11 o'clock, bro. But the thing is like if it was just 1 car and I was the last one there, it would have pissed me off because I'm like, bro, I spent all day and I could have sold a car earlier than day and then like went home on time. But like I had to, because like I didn't set up my day the right way. I'm over here selling a car or a half deal, late as shit because, that's how I have to like, make money. But man, that day I sold 3 cars and the last 2 customers were the last 2 people in the box. And bro, I was happy, bro. I was over here skipping around, like, doing all the little trade stuff. And bro, it was dope. But it's very much like winning is contagious, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it goes into like, bro, like we have to, like winning is contagious. Winning is fun. Selling cars is fun. It's the prospecting that sucks. And I know, yes. You're right there. But
nobody hates selling cars. Everybody loves to sell the car. It's the having to try to find a customer, especially when it's so dry out there. It's like, that's the grueling part. It fucking eats at you all day, and then you just spiral out. Especially if you have a few days and you don't sell a car, fuck that week will be one of the worst weeks of your life if you can't sell a car.
Yeah, and so it does. I think it goes just back into like, bro, like if we can find, I think you don't want to do content, but I feel like if we just, especially if it's a group thing, I feel like if we got comfortable enough and we started enjoying it, like we enjoy this. And I feel like if we just got uncomfortable.
This is real though.
Yeah.
The part that I don't like about the content is like, not that it all is, but a lot of it is rehearsed. And I don't like the feeling of acting, That's kind of like I've always felt like in music, I could never do one of those like storyteller songs, right? Of a bunch of shit that didn't happen. Or if it was somebody else's story, because it's like, I'm acting. you know? At the end of the day, like, I always felt like that was, like, disingenuous, or I couldn't put things in my songs that, like, I didn't live, you know? Because there's a lot of artists out there who, like, say, oh, I got, like, and people that I knew, right, who come in the studio, but, like, I got a Rolex and blah, blah, this and the third, like, driving this fucking Lambo and shit, because it sounded cool.
Yeah.
But it's, like, that's not, like, real. I can never be that person, and I feel like the content, what cringes me out about it is that it is, like, almost bad acting, you know? And I get it that, like, we practice this, but I've always told you, like, whenever we're starting, I'm like, okay, let's not, like, go too deep into it.
Yeah, we just like.
I was like, I was like, just give me like the pinpoints of what we're gonna do. I was like, but don't start discussing it too much, because I don't want to feel like this is a reenactment.
A
reenactment of
two,
the conversation that we just had right before the podcast. You know, I want it to all feel very genuine and real. Like, these are my true reactions to the question. So I feel like that's what cringes me out about the content, is that it is like, it's scripted, you know? And I don't think that scripting is necessarily bad, but, you know, leave that to the fucking, you know, actors of the world, I guess, you know, the professionals who are, like, really doing it. Like me, I'm not an actor.
Yeah, but I think you want to do, you say that, like, obviously you're still going to be doing music, but you have to be doing your music videos, and that's a little bit of acting. You know, maybe not 100%.
Yes and no, right? Is because that's like, if I do a music video that was like a story, whatever, which I really haven't done. Usually, like, whenever I do music videos, they've just been visuals. They've just been like shit, like, to, like, show, you know, just enough, like, on screen, right? But if I were to do a music video, like, it's not acting, because these things really happen. Like, everything that I talk about in my music is all, like, real shit. You know, I hate to say, like, be like that person, like, oh, there's no cap in my rap, like, but
yeah, but then it's also reenacting.
It is just
it's a take two, because this is all stuff that you wrote, like, beforehand or whatever it is, and you were going through at that time, but you're, like, almost reenacting it in a music video, right? So it's like the same thing as, like, you want this to be real, but, like, then you're like, it's like the take two, like, this is like me putting it out there, like, in a story, in a sense, and you're trying to fit it into a music video.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's a little bit of, like, a complicated, like, conversation, but I don't feel like this is a reenactment, because it is still, like, a real conversation. You know, whenever, like, the shit that we're talking about in here is us telling stories about stuff that happened, and I feel like music is the same way. Now, if we sat here and we plan, like, okay, hey, like, I'm going to do, like, this, like, quip, you know? Like, if we were, like, planning out our jokes during, like, the podcast, like, oh, I want to make this joke and blah, blah. Like, I think that's a little, like, where things kind of start to feel a little artificial and a little less real to me. You know, and maybe, yeah, sometimes I am in my own head about it a little bit. You know, I let my brain, like, overcomplicate things that shouldn't have to be so complicated. But, yeah, I just feel like the content is, like, you see whenever people are shooting content, they have to, like, fake their reactions and stuff like that, and I get it, like, it's supposed to be acting, but whenever I'm watching it, like, it makes me cringe when they're like, oh my gosh, like, you didn't do this and blah blah, you know. And to me, it's just like, like.
But wouldn't you want to reap the benefits of those people who are doing that stuff? Because I think
no, I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? Is the only reason that I would want to do it is because I see that, you know, at the end of the day, that bullshit is working, you know, like the clickbait and all of that stuff. And
yeah, and it's even going down to, like, I told you that I never wanted to be in sales before until I saw that my brother did this stuff before me, and he was making all this money. I'm like, damn, like, I'm over here working harder. This guy's just talking, and he's making more money than I am. I was like, wow. And I was like, if that's all it takes, I can figure it out too. And I think so. This is kind of going to transition to the next topic, because I don't want to stay too long on a certain topic, right? Because we do have a few other topics we want to talk about. But
yeah, we are running out of time a little bit.
yeah, especially because we have plans after this. But I very much sometimes get into the state where I think I had to stop caring about what other people think. So I start getting a little delusional, right? I started liking to think that like, nothing in life is real until I make it real. Right. And then so I don't really try to care about too many things, because if I start caring about everything, my mind's just going to go crazy. But sometimes I like to think about life as like a video game. Right. And going into this thing, you had put, like, you know, the XP theory, or, like, you know, like all the, like, your fails, all that stuff, like, in life. These are all things that, like, you get experience points from, you know. These are all things that, like,
yeah, the most fucked up times in your life is whenever you're, like, gaining the most XP points and you have to level up your character. Like, yeah,
You're
it
equipping your
sucks,
character, yeah, with
right?
what's new.
Because you are going through stuff and everything, especially whenever you're going through it, feels really, really, really big. And then a year later, once it passes, you're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, like that. Maybe that wasn't as big as I thought, like, you know, in the grand scheme of things. And I think about a lot of the stuff that I went through in my life, and, you know, a lot of it was experience points to where I wonder how I would have gone this far without it, you know? I don't want to get into it like too much, right? Too much deep stuff, but definitely a lot of the stuff that I went through as you know, my late teenage years, whenever I got into the working force, or like, you know, in the car business, it was like a lot of these things that were so laughable because of like the real like dire situations I got into whenever I was young. Like, you know, a handful of people I was really close with like died whenever when we were just teenagers, you know? So it's like we were like going through stuff where it was like real, you know, like real life fucked up shit.
Losses, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like, you know, you go into fucking the dealership and it's like, well, you know, I can't take these like things as serious as y'all do. Like, this is like fun and games, you know? Like the street shit, right? Quotation marks, felt like so much more real like problems than this. I'm like, this is like, everybody here makes too much money to like be, you know, as dramatic as they are about what's going on. Like, you know, like chill out, like calm down. Like there's no need to.
Life's really not that hard when you're like, you know, okay, like you're out here wiping your tears with $100 bills, bro. Chill.
Yeah,
it's
you know
not
what I
that
mean.
serious,
Like,
yeah. I get it. Yeah. I think so. Obviously, I was gonna ask you a question, and I don't want to get into it too deep where like it gets you uncomfortable. But I think right, like every failure gives you experience points, right? Like whether it be a breakup, a rejection, bad job, a mistake, like a customer slammed it. Like I used to do door-to-door sales. Every time a customer slammed the door in the face, right, it was a learning lesson. Like, what did I do wrong? Like, I'm gonna have 15 seconds to catch somebody's attention. Like, what can I do to improve, right? Let me ask you, what's something you're comfortable talking about, but what's the biggest XP moment of your life? Like something that you feel like it's always going to sit with you, and the lessons you learn from that moment is always going to sit with you, and you hope that you never forget those lessons. Is there anything that comes to mind? Something that you're comfortable talking about, of course. I'm
comfortable talking about everything, right? I just don't like to get too like, I don't like to bring it up and then like shit gets like real morbid, but yeah. You know, because it sounds crazy whenever you say it, but I guess, like, things really just kind of panned out this way. But I would say definitely, like, the most, like, experienced moment of my life where, like, you know, I kind of got, like, punched in the face was my, like, I want to say there was two people in my life that, like, I really, like, consider, like, my best friends. And one of them basically threatened to kill and rob me. Like, and it was a whole, like, it was a life-changing experience because I had known him since we were, like, really, really, really young, you know, since we were, like, 8. And this happens whenever we're 17. So we met on the playground, like, in elementary, you know, and this girl I was close with, she had asked me, she's like, you didn't see any, like, the red flags, like, they were there? And I'm like, we grew up in elementary. Like, what red flags do you have in elementary school, you know? And he was solid. Like, you know, I remember whenever we were in middle school, like, some dude got in my face and, like, no questions asked. Like, he jumped in and just fucking shoved him to the ground. Like, that was, like, my brother. You know, my mom called him her son. His mom called me her son. Whenever that happened, it was like, holy fuck. Like, it changed my perspective of how I look at people. And it still does to this day. Is like, I'm always like, I always kind of have my guard up now, you know, because I'm like, okay, yes, like, I know this person, I might be cool with them, but I'm always aware, like, I don't know everything about them. And just because I did know them, you know, yesterday doesn't mean that I know them today. Yeah. Because things change, you know, at the end of the day, people change like that. That situation definitely, like, shaped me up for coming into the real, like, life of things, you know? And there was so many other people involved in that. It got, like, really, really out of hand. and the real life, like, it was like families were involved, you know, because they were such a tight
group.
Yeah, tight group. And it's like, well, at that point, like, everybody has to like pick a side. And I was so shocked by it because I didn't really do anything, you know, so it was definitely like one-sided hate.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but I really do feel like, and I'll never get the answer, right, in all honesty, on like why everything happened, because it actually ended because he died. Like, he got shot. I felt like that happened because of jealousy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he was always like the one who was like, got like a bunch of girls and shit like that. And then he kind of like gained weight and like his money went down. And at that same time, like towards the end of high school, like I was on my way up. Like all of a sudden, like I'm getting a bunch of attention from a lot of the girls, and, you know, I'm getting my money right. So when I was on my way up, I felt like things flipped, and he just kind of got like jealous. Maybe we weren't around each other as much as like we used to be.
Yeah.
And the whole situation was real fucked up. But that definitely was like my XP went all the way up after it all happened. You know, because at that point it's like, oh fuck, like shit got really real, really fast. And then everything that happens after that, like I said, just kind of feels like everything, it's just fun and games. Like nothing's that serious. Like I can never feel that serious at a job because I was in some shit that was real life serious, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and another thing too, I think that you could take from that is like, man, these are like real world problems where like at that point, like this is the shit that people go through, right? Like, man, like I can definitely understand the jealousy standpoint because that shit can make somebody go crazy, right? Especially when you were somebody and like now, like obviously you said he gained some weight, right? He's not getting that attention anymore. I think that goes like if I were to answer that question, I think my biggest XP moment in my life is when I got fired from Cavender. You know, I have literally like I have records, right? Like I have the biggest check in the history of that store for a salesperson, right? And then that was me. That was like the things that I kept next to my name. And so when I got fired, it's almost like I lost all those little like titles above my name. And it was hard because I couldn't continue because obviously I got fired. I wouldn't ever go back, but it was I felt like I lost all those little accolades when I had to start over, and then I did something else, and it was very much some failure behind it, and a lot of anxiety and a lot of stuff that I was going through, and then like just that chapter after that was like that was a lot of training. It was like my training era. Like I was just on like always trying to just figure it out, and then to the point where like I knew I had to go back. I had to go back to the car business because that's where I was gonna be able to reap the benefits of all the stuff I've learned over the years. But even starting a new dealership, it felt like I wasn't the same person because none of that stuff mattered here.
Yeah.
You know, I went from thinking I was the best to just being like another name on the roll call sheet. You know.
Yeah, because how many times do we get people who are like, "Oh, I was the #1 salesman at my last dealership," and then they come to North Park and they fucking they shit themselves.
Nobody,
yeah, you're bottom of the barrel.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of and I've only been there for like 6-7 months. I have seen like, you know, probably more than 5 people come in and they're like, yeah, I was the #1 salesman at my last dealership, and then they come here and it's like, oh fuck, like
you were in a pond and now you're in an ocean. And
yeah, now you're in the fucking
predators.
sharks. Yeah,
we have. I like to say it, bro. Like we are at a dealership that employs over 20 car guys at one given point. You know, we have a good month. Like it's crazy how many units we're putting out for some of the top producers, right? So I think it's very much jealousy and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, bro, like I can see it, like where like you can never. And yeah, I think over the years, the 2 years I've been there, I've built myself back up to where I'm confident in who I am because I know like I'm one of the best closers there for sure. Maybe I don't get in front of enough customers to sell enough customers, right? And that's very much me trying to like find a balance, right, between grinding and living. But it's very much. It took me a lot. It took a lot. Like that was very much a hard point in my life to kind of go back, and it kind of does transitions us into the next topic, right? Was like your prime, right? I always say that. Well, it's not that I say it anymore. I've used to say it that at that point in my life when I was at my last dealership, man, I was making stupid money. And like. I very much would think of that, like at certain parts of my life, a little bit afterwards, I was thinking that was my prime, and that was just me being in my head. But I think now, if I were to put myself against the salesman I was back then, like I would tear like the old version of myself up. Like I am so much better, and so it's hard because the insecurities with getting older is like, man, like I hate the thought that thinking my prime is in the past, but it's not. I'm always getting better.
I see a lot of guys, older guys, say that that a man's prime is like 35, which gives me hope, right? You know,
yeah.
and I definitely, I don't want to be one of those guys who everybody's calling me and texting me now, right? Because we're about to leave and go to somewhere.
Destination.
Destination, right? The destination for the night. But I want to believe that I have not lived in the peak of my life, like, because there's like certain times where I feel like we're like maybe peaks in like certain things, but I definitely don't feel like I have ever peaked all around yet, and hopefully that comes at 35. You know, like I feel, I've talked about it before, I feel like Under the Influence was like my favorite project that I did, you know, but I don't think that was me peaking in music. I think that now, you know, I've made songs that are better than the songs on that project, but as a whole, it's like one of my favorite, you know. I feel like I've been more lean than I am now. You know, there's times where I feel like I was stronger than I am now, but I still don't feel like I've peaked in my physicality or like in my body. I feel like I eventually I'm going to reach a better like combination of both, you know, being lean and strong. You know, I feel like
total package.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to eventually do a better project than Under the Influence. As of right now, it's my favorite one, but you know, I do see myself passing that up, you know? So I feel like, yeah, maybe 35 in our 30s is when we actually peak as men. And I'm going to believe that.
512 of the Jaime and Jay podcast. Right?
Yeah, I'm going to believe that because it gives me no power to believe that my peak was behind me at all, especially at this age. You know, I feel like, we are kind of young. We wanted to discuss a little bit, and we'll get into it like really, really fast because we are running out of time. The whole Conor situation, what happened last night in the fight, you know, Conor's 37, right? And he let off for like those 5 years, and I think that's why it happened. You know, it was sad to see and like kind of think like, yeah, maybe Pete Conor is behind us, but that might not be the story for everyone. You can have a different story, and Conor has been actually plagued by his abundance because he's so rich.
Yeah.
But if you take like a reverse to that, if we look at Alex Pieta, I think Pieta came back to the UFC at 37 after being a champion and hitting like a real low point too. Like he wasn't like super broke, but he wasn't rich whenever he came into the UFC.
Yeah, it was a different lifestyle.
You know, I think he was working at a tire shop or some shit like that whenever he came back.
Oh shit.
At 37. You know, so Conor just, you know, might seem like he's on his last leg at 37, but Pieta came back at 37 and became the middleweight champion and became the light heavyweight champion, you know. Went on a crazy, like a generational crazy UFC run, like to the point where he's going to be in the UFC Hall of Fame now at 37. So I do believe as a man, you could still peak in your 30s, you know, even in your late 30s.
And I think another thing too is like sometimes we do have to hit rock bottom. To make these changes that will like eventually make us better. Like these are all things that we have to do in our lives. We won't see the instant gratification right then and there, but these are things that we have to do so we can do this long term and make this better. You know, overall, I think that, man, I know I hurt for the guy too because, man, like being out for 5 years, bro, half a decade, and like not even a minute, bro, and
Conor was the guy.
Bro, yeah, bro. I think
he changed the sport. Like
people walk like him.
Whether
bro.
or not he was the best, like fighter of all time, like maybe he wasn't, but he was definitely like the biggest of all time, right? You know, like he was an icon. He turned the UFC into a mainstream sport. So to see him come back like that, like it does suck, you know.
And it's hard too because like how do you keep on fighting when like you just got defeated after that? Like that's just a personal defeat. Like nobody beat him.
But that doesn't mean that maybe that was his prime in the UFC, but that might not be Conor's prime as a person. You know? Mike Tyson definitely hit his prime in boxing. years ago, but I feel like Mike's prime as a person came way later whenever he was older and he whenever he was doing like the Mike Tyson podcast and everybody's like, holy shit, like Mike Tyson actually has shit to say. That only came because of him hitting his lowest points at his, like at the aftermath of his career.
After
hitting those heights and then coming down, he already was like the champion of boxing, whatever. He took his losses, but I still feel like Mike's prime as like a person, like to his like mental prime, came like years later whenever he was already gray hair. And then, I feel like whenever that happened, Mike gave the most value, as a person to his intelligence and everything that he had learned from his losses. And he had a lot of value to tell people whenever he was doing his stuff. I don't know if he still does. If he does, that's great. But I know that there was an era where the Mike Tyson podcast was like really, really popular. And he was saying a lot of insightful things that I kept seeing on like my feed and all that stuff. And I was like, damn, at this point in his career, whenever he was a boxer, Mike wasn't saying anything that was like making people think. But at this point in his career, he might have peaked mentally. So I do think that, just because you peak in one place doesn't mean that you've peaked for your life in that point,
Yeah, and I think it's also like it's always chasing your prime, right? And not being insecure about thinking that it's in the past, but it's also like what are you doing with all the knowledge that it took to get there, right? Because these guys, I'm sure once Conor gets there too, it's just gonna be like the same because, man, these are athletes that push their bodies to like the absolute limit, bro. Like this man came back from a broken leg to headline a UFC night, right? And so I'm thinking like all the hardships, everything he had to go through, like this is all stuff that like, man, like somebody else can definitely learn from. Because people like, bro, like yeah. I used to want to be I told you before, like I used to want to do like at least one show for bodybuilding, right? And then I tore my pec and I'm like, bro, like I could never do this because it's not gonna be even, right? And I could eventually have the surgery and maybe get back into it, but it's very much it was hard, bro. It was hard to come back. I very much told myself like, why am I even gonna keep on working out now, And then, what's funny too is after that, I ended up hurting my knee, and it wasn't that bad, but it was very much like I had to be so limited in the things I did. So I was like, man, I'm over here trying to get better, and like I just feel like everything's holding me back. But now I feel like I do things differently that are gonna help me do this stuff long term. And it's like you just have to learn from these from hitting this rock bottom. I think I hate to say, but sometimes if you hit rock bottom hard enough, you do bounce back up.
Yeah, no, and those moments are needed in life. Like we said, like it's when you get the most experience points. I think we do have to kind of just like wrap this one up. Hopefully that you guys got a lot of value out of this episode talking about getting older, because I know that everyone kind of feels like no matter at what age you are, you're always getting older. So we're all in that situation, even if you're turning 23 like I am, or I think I'm 27. 28, yeah, right. I was trying to make you sound younger, but Jaime's 28, so everybody kind of does feel like they're getting older, and everybody is, every second that goes by, you are running out of time. So just make sure that you're doing the most of what you have, and if you want to do something, definitely do it. Celebrate yourself too, like I'm about to celebrate myself, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.